Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Garsten, and welcome to episode 114 of Tales from the Beat, where we look at news and PR from both sides of the scrimmage line. Oh, Canada! Yes, we were returning to Michigan from a family vacation at our relatives in Rochester, New York. And as usual, we took the shortcut through Ontario because, anyone from Michigan avoids Ohio when humanly possible, and saving 100 miles by using Canada as a convenient pass-through just adds gravy to the poutine. Now, I know what you're saying. Thanks for the travelogue, Ed, but I could give less than one shit about your little vacation. But stay with me, because as one of my great news idols and my first CNN boss once said to me, if the video doesn't quite fit the story, just back into it. You see, while we traversed southern Ontario, we made our usual lunch and comfort stop in Mediold, London. It seemed there were a lot more people around than usual in the middle of a weekday. And then we realized it was election day in the Great White North. And that sparked a memory, really, of one of the most embarrassing and regretful days of my more than 50 years of banging out stuff aimed at informing the public of things. Okay, Sherman said the Wayback Machine. It was 1997, an important national election in Canada, as Prime Minister Jean Chrétien faced strong opposition. Well, based on CNN's Detroit bureau at the time, my crew and I were sent up to Canadian capital Ottawa to cover the vote. Now, my assignment was to do frequent live shots on election night and then turn a package for use by subsequent newscasts on CNN and its other networks. Well, our friends at the CBC provided a workspace for us and a crew from the BBC in their building near the Parliament Hill. We arrived a little bit after the BBC crew, and they seemed especially happy. We'd find out why very shortly. Now, our host, he was a sort of trim, gray-haired gentleman with a big giant smile and a welcoming demeanor. Now think about that smile for a minute. It wouldn't last. He made sure we were situated on our workplace and suggested I should place myself near the window with a view of Parliament as an especially visual spot for my live shots. It was a good idea for a while. Well, it was early yet, long before any results were due in, so our temporarily happy CBC host beckoned us to join him in a very special room to hang out and relax before things got kind of crazy, Well, we arrived at an unmarked door with frosted glass. As we followed our host in, breathing became a major challenge as we navigated the thick cloud of choking smoke from the lit cigarettes and cigars almost everyone else in the room seemed to have sticking out of their mouths. Then our host insisted we enjoy something to drink to, sort of chill before election night heated up. Our host explained this was the network's private Rathskeller for employees and guests. It was a nice touch. At CNN Atlanta headquarters, where I was based for 8 years, there was a little cafeteria where the scent of burning bacon would waft up into the newsroom a floor above every morning, but certainly no private club for smoking and drinking. We didn't know exactly what liquid refreshment our host provided for us, but I'll tell you, it wasn't lemonade or iced tea or Coca-Cola or anything like that. That would soon become very apparent. After a mercifully short stay in the lung-busting mystery elixir drinking den of iniquity, our host escorted us back to our workspace, and he bade us a cheerful good luck, That was the last time I saw the guy smile. Taking his suggestion, I got situated by the window, offering a nice shot of Parliament. It's kind of tricky because to really see Canada's seat of government, we'd have to open the window and I'd have to kind of sort of sit on the sill, and one wrong move and I'd be reporting from the emergency room of a nearby hospital. It didn't help that whatever was in the plastic cup back at the Rathskeller was kind of playing tricks with my gray matter, which is not exactly optimal when you're about to do multiple live shots for a global TV network, right? Well, things got off, they got off to a pretty good start. First live shot was smooth, and everyone back in the Atlanta control room was happy. I was still feeling a little loopy for our next hit less than an hour later when our esteemed anchor Bernard Shaw asked if any results were in yet, Ed. Well, always prepared, I provided what I knew up to that point. It was still early, no real numbers in quite yet, but I was able to give kind of a sense of how things were going. It's always good, right, to give the top anchor a strong answer. And this night was off to a great start. And then it wasn't. Remember our smiling, accommodating host? I was barely off the air when Dr. Jekyll became Mr. Hyde. He burst into our workspace with teeth gnashing, eyes blazing, and he stared into my soul and spit out the words, "Do you know you just broke every Canadian election law?" In the words of the immoral and immortal George Costanza, I was tempted to reply,
"Was that wrong? Should I not have done that?"
Well, instead, I meekly replied, I did not. Apparently, during Canadian national elections, you're not allowed to give any results until all the polls across the vast nation have closed, so it doesn't affect the voting. That's a sensible rule. Well, I protested that I did not give any hard numbers, but rather a sense of what early returns were showing. Ha! You can't do that either. Well, you could blame my unfortunate faux pas on ignorance, but we actually were briefed on the rules in advance, but were led to believe it was only hard numbers that were forbidden before the polls closed. Now, I really don't know if it was whatever potent potable was poured down my throat in the Rathskeller, provided by our host, I must say. The pressure of a live debrief by our most prominent and powerful anchor demanding some actual news, or both. But in the capital of the hotbed of hockey, I guess I was worthy of a lengthy stay in the penalty box. You might think our now pissed-off host would have been justified in tossing our asses right out. But after I apologized without noting it was him who provided the brain-loosening liquid, he repeated the rule, ordered me not to screw up again, and he flew out the door. Well, during the next live shot, I was sure to explain, in no uncertain terms, I would not be able to provide any interim results until all the polls closed, per Canadian law, and explain the whole rationale for the thing. Now, instead of acting all, anchory about the limits of what I could report at that point, the late, great Mr. Shaw agreed the rule did make sense. I was just glad he didn't come back with something like, "So why the hell did you give me the results earlier?" Well, the rest of the night went well, even though at one point I thought I was going to fall through my window ledge during a live shot, which would have really spiced up the coverage, I guess. Well, as we packed up after filing our final package, Mr. Hyde reverted back to his smiling alter ego. As he escorted us out, he gave me a little evil grin, saying, "Learned something tonight, eh?" Yeah. As Confucius might have said, don't trust skinny, smiling hosts offering mysterious victuals before live shots. Eh? That's Tales from the Beat. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll subscribe, share, comment. I'm Ed Garsten, and I'll be back soon with more tales. Take care. Canada!